welcome to my show, Broke Student on a Budget. Today we're going to be making guacamole and whole wheat pita chips. So I'm going to be using whole wheat pita. If you guys want, you can use white pita, it doesn't really matter. But one thing that I want to do is kind of emphasize the ingredients that we'll be using today. So first thing is our avocado. To briefly speak about our avocados originate, I believe, from South Central Mexico all the way down to Guatemala. So we have to import them here. And what that often means is that unfortunately they have a shorter shelf life than they normally would. But one way of making sure that they are ripe is pulling off the nub on the top of the fruit and kind of looking in. If you notice that it is greenish, it is actually ready to consume. So avocados are really great in the sense that they are full of basically healthy fats, which is fantastic. And by healthy fats, I mean poly and monounsaturated fatty acids. These fatty acids contribute to heart health, and most importantly, they serve as a useful source of dietary fat, so you can consume less oils as a result. And that brings me to the point of the versatility of these avocados. Avocados are very versatile in the sense that because of their high fat content, they are able to function as multiple things. The one thing that I wanted to emphasize, they actually function really well as emulsifiers, especially in vegan desserts. They can be used oftentimes to replace fats because oils do not have necessarily the same effect on desserts. So avocados, fantastic source of fats, really great and healthy. However, you do need to consume them in moderation because yes, they still have saturated fat, and saturated fat we have to consume in moderation in our diet, as we've established in many of our nutrition courses. So I also wanted to talk about the other fruits that I do have here today, but before I move on, I just wanted to talk about also, I told you how to find a really good avocado that's ready, but I also now want to talk about the fact that when you cut an avocado open, like many fruits, it is susceptible to oxidization. Oxidization does happen as a result of, in our case, we have polyphenol oxidase that is in these avocados, and once you cut it open, it reacts with the oxygen in the air, causing browning. This is known as enzymatic browning. To avoid that, you basically wrap it as soon as you're done, preferably in plastic wrap, and I do understand it's not the most environmentally friendly option. However, we can also submerge it in water. The next thing that we have here is our tomato. I'm gonna only be using half of our lemon, and I'm going to be using a Scotch Bonnet, but I'm not going to be using the whole thing, so I'm just going to be cutting it. And I'm going to be using some cilantro for flavor. One other thing that I'm going to be using is roasted garlic. Roasted garlic has a really fantastic flavor. It adds an almost caramelized flavor. I do not like adding raw garlic to anything. And then I'm going to be adding some paprika and adding some salt to season. Just before I start off, all my fruits and vegetables here are washed, and we can focus on cutting our avocado. For safety reasons, we'll be cutting it on the board. One thing you want to do is you want to dip your knife into it, and you kind of want to rotate around the pit. And the pit usually is extremely large, so you want to avoid it at all costs. There we go. So how do I usually take the pit out? I kind of do that, and I kind of twist it out. That I grid my avocado. I go horizontally first and then go down vertically. And then once I do this, I make sure that I complete this for all my avocados and put them into the bowl. One thing I like to do is I like to squeeze them into the bowl to make sure that I'm maximizing the amount of flesh that I get off. So I kind of squeeze everything out and into the bowl. And you'll see that. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other one. Squish down any parts that you didn't get. You want to make sure that you're leaving your avocado slightly chunky. I'm just going to show you the texture once. That's kind of what it looks like right now. I'm just going to fork it just a little more. So the first thing that I like to do is squeeze in my lemon. Why do you think that I'm doing that? It's to make sure that we're reducing the potential to oxidize, and this is basically acid inhibiting the enzyme. Lemon lowers the pH of the enzymes. The optimal pH range of the enzymes do not fall within that of a lemon. Now that I've squeezed in my lemon is a great source of vitamin C, and it also adds a ton of flavor. It also helps cut the fat. The second ingredient that we're gonna do here is our tomatoes. I like to minimize waste of a tomato by just cutting a little V into the place where the stem attaches, so I just cut closer to it. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna dice these. Tomato is also a great source of vitamin C. It also has been shown to function as an antioxidant as well. I love tomatoes. I actually just eat them with salt sometimes, but yeah, they're really, really delicious. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and at this point, this is what it looks like. I use the stem of the coriander because honestly it adds a lot of flavor. I don't know why people think that you should throw it away. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in. I'm gonna cut up my Scotch Bonnet. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in. I'm just gonna taste just a little bit. I'm gonna add more. Okay, now I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this in. Again, this is also helping brighten like the avocados. This is gonna be a really delicious, great looking mixture. I'm gonna go ahead and cut up a small piece of the onion. We are adding such a little amount, like that much into it. We're making sure that we're dicing so they can all contribute to create a bite. I forgot to mention, the avocados are served with tortilla chips. I usually just eat it with pita. For reference, I've been eating pita my whole life. It contributes a unique flavor, let's put it that way. We're gonna go ahead and add about, I'm gonna say about a teaspoon basically. I'm gonna throw that in. We're gonna go ahead and add some paprika. Same thing, you're adding a teaspoon. We're gonna go ahead and mix in our salt and our paprika. This is kind of what it looks like. Last but not least, we will be adding in, we're gonna be adding our roasted garlic olive oil. Again, you will be adding about a teaspoon. It smells really, really delicious. Okay, now we can put this aside and we're gonna go ahead and start cutting up our pita. So I wanna make sure we're setting our oven to 450 degrees. We just wanna make sure we're drying them out. I'm gonna be using a food scissors. Fun. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut these into bite-sized portions. So I'm just gonna show you once I'm done cutting all of them apart. The smaller they are, the faster they do dry out. So it's in my best interest to cut them a little bit smaller. Fantastic. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you. Oh, it's a pretty big one right there. This is what they kind of look like. I'm gonna put these in the oven. So the heat helps it dry out. Hi guys, we're back. It's been about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I basically have successfully toasted them. I don't like them too dark. So I've toasted my pita chips to a nice crunch, as you can hear. I'm gonna go ahead and dump them on the side here. Now in my bowl, I'm gonna go ahead and scoop my guacamole into the bowl now. As much as you feel like you need, you know, as many people as you have over. This is the finished product. Wow. Finally, we are going to be tasting our guacamole and chips. Sometimes you'll find that your chips come apart, sometimes that they're stuck together. However you like eating your chips, I have to admit that it's probably better to have them double layered. It's good. It's got acidity, it's got flavor. And you know, we're able to cut the fat of the avocado. This is a very, very satisfying snack. Thanks for joining me, I really appreciate it. It's been fun making this with you. Student on a budget.